Took a quick walk into the basement. This is one of the things the insurance company missed, was the basement steps and all of the water damaged items being brought up from down here significantly, let's see if I can zoom in, significantly ruined the walls, the basement stairs. These are going to require complete sanding, and let's see if I do paint again, several layers of paint to restore that. I may try to just do the flooring and bring it down into the basement as well. So at one point, after everything had been cleaned up and I bought all the insulation to replace everything, I did start on the insulation. I got about a third of it done, left the rest down here. There was nothing down here, and the sump pump stopped working again. It didn't really stop working, but it wasn't working right. It was making funny sounds, and we don't really come down here very often, but I did find that it had backed up and there was several inches of water down here. All over again, ruined all that insulation that I had bought and left down here. Not sure where that wood is coming from, actually. That's not really a good sign. So, like I said, we did find another Coke can lodged up under the old sump pump. That's what had caused the secondary flooding in the basement after everything was done and we started working. So what I did is I just replaced the sump pump altogether. The lady that I bought the house from, she had some issues with the sump pump, or the house had flooded before I bought it in the basement and the sump pump stopped working. I don't know if that's the same sump pump, but she did leave a receipt on the counter for some of the things she had fixed. That was one of them. I just figured it was best to replace the sump pump altogether. I've had this home about 7 years, a little over 7 years, so that sump pump is significantly older than that. I just thought it would be a good idea since everything else had been replaced. I don't really want to go through any more significant damage claims. Nothing of the sort. I don't plan on ever doing this again. So I went ahead and replaced the sump pump, dropped a new one in there, got the water mess all cleaned up down here. This one is significantly quieter than the other one. I'm not sure if that played a role, but what I did notice is there was an old Coke can, just like I'd found initially. Those kids had shoved trash, toys, and Coke cans down into that small little hole right there into where the sump pump is. And I thought we had cleaned it all out. We did check, I believe it was twice after getting the house back. And I was pretty sure we got everything out of there. But based on the way it appeared as if it was lodged up under there, and we must have missed it. And at some point it floated its way to the top, causing it to back up again after I'd already started on this insulation over here. So I started doing the insulation, started putting it back. There's a couple kinds up there, that's why it's two different colors. But I did start on it, did start getting it done, and left the rolls down here with the intention of coming back to finish. It made me really sick due to the amount of mold that's up there. I did scrub every single one of those little squares that the insulation is in individually as well, but because of my condition, I'm so sick that made me very sick, and so did the insulation itself. So I could only kind of get about that far. Oh, what the heck is going on down here? Bugs? Mold? Not really sure. I only got so far with it, and I stopped right about there. So lost the rest of the insulation that I bought. Lost all that. Ended up having to, well, I haven't bought it yet, but I'm going to have to buy more to replace what I lost. And once that's done, I'll get to that part of it and, you know, get to finishing all that side. I now have a shelf down here with some stuff stored down here again. We had to take everything out initially, clean everything up, buy a shelf, put it together, start moving some stuff down here. I have not yet had the time to address the furnace or the hot water tank. The insurance company did miss the hot water tank, so that's one of the other things that's being addressed. What a mess. Yeah, you can see where the water sat about up to here. initially a long time ago, before I owned the home. I don't know if it was vacant or what the problem was, but it did sit about that deep for quite some time before somebody found it and addressed it. Just a little bit of flooring left over here in this area. Just one strip there, a couple little strips there, and then we can finish the quarter rounds around all of the new cabinetry. Should tie everything in with the flooring nicely. And then as soon as this next check comes, we'll be able to get some appliances in here. Again, extremely happy with the new countertops. I did do a different design in this kitchen than initially existed. There was an island here, no peninsula. There was an island right below that light fixture. You couldn't really sit at it. There wasn't an overhang of any kind, just a couple cupboards and drawers. So I did have, I had the company Uniquely Unique redesign how I wanted my kitchen put back together. And instead of putting the island, basically same amount of materials, but swing it off the end. 86 the island, put the peninsula, 12-inch overhang right here, 12-inch overhang on this side, so that way there would be seating. And I did do a 12-inch overhang over here, which did not exist before. This cabinet was here and this countertop was here, but there was no 12-inch overhang. So I did add a couple things that did not exist prior. This is a drawer for the trash, so it doesn't have to sit out in the open. I'm just now getting to start putting some of the dishes and stuff that belongs in the cupboards away in the kitchen. They've been in boxes for quite some time. I had nowhere to really use them and no kitchen, and didn't want to unpack anything until, you know, the house was put back together. There is a couple of damaged lights that was missed by the insurance, so that is one of the things we are petitioning. You can see that one's dim. It's the same one as the one I turned on in the other room. This is the backyard. Huge backyard. It did have a deck when I first bought the home, but it wasn't permitted and it was loose and it seemed kind of dangerous. We ended up taking it out altogether. Eventually what I'll do is pour a patio out there just outside of this door wall. So I'll get to that eventually. Not high on my priority list. Just wanted to give everybody an update of what kind of work's been going on in here since I've had the house back. Again, I got it back January 8th. That's when I started working on everything regularly. Had to chip away at some things. Couldn't really stay in the home for a couple months until we took care of the mold. There was a significant amount of mold had taken over since the large amount of water sat unmitigated for a little over 2 months before I found it. So I did have to figure out how to clean that up. I did it a couple different ways. I found a company, Biocide Labs, makes mold bombs. I believe they're out of Georgia. They deal with a lot of hurricane damaged homes and homeowners not getting enough from their insurance while trying to mitigate the problem. I think each bomb covers about 100 square feet. So depending on how many square feet you have, that's how many mold bombs you need. It took me a couple months to mitigate the rest of the damage from the mold. And then I did use the mold bombs last. So I did several steps in order to do that. This all needs to be trimmed down, but I took the garden out, put these patio bricks on the side of the house just because it was a blank slate and I can't really maintain the garden. A lot of things I can't maintain. I have too many things going on. I can't quite maintain everything to the degree that it should be. Yes, the grass needs to be cut. I'm getting to it. But with all the damage on the inside of the house and that being on some type of time limit, I've been focusing on that. So there's some things out here that need to be replaced. There is a bunny who lives there. I believe I disrupted his home. He used to live in the island out front, but this is some stuff that needs to be replaced out here. This is where I'll eventually pour the patio. But yeah, this is what's been going on.